Hello, welcome to Veritas. I'm your host, Adam Colazetti, and I'm here to guide you on a meditative adventure like no other. Join me and lose yourself in your imagination as we travel the outer reaches of the cosmos, quest for powerful talismans, and explore the inner realm of your subconscious. What might you find along the way? But be warned, fair traveler, this path is not for the faint of heart. On this path, of one thing I am certain, dragons be here. Are you ready? So how we're going to begin is you're going to sit comfortably, however that means to you. Could be legs crossed, could be sitting in a chair, whatever it is, sit somewhere comfortably that you feel relaxed and comfortable. And you're going to close your eyes and you're going to take 3 deep breaths. Deep breath in, count to 4. Deep breath out, count to 4. And each time you exhale, you're going to try and relax your body a little bit further. So you're going to inhale, pause, exhale. Pause. So as you're doing this and you're relaxing, it's in those pauses between breaths where we're going to go. That is where your creativity meets your imagination, meets your subconscious. So let's see what awaits you in the spaces between breaths. The dance is bliss. It is poetry and movement untamed and untethered. It is fueled only by emotion and flows energetically from one to the other. Its movement can be frantic and chaotic, or smooth and peaceful. It leaps from one form to the next and changes frequency without a thought. The dance is beauty, and it never repeats. It is here that we find the untameable being. It is unpredictable and unknowing. It flows with unseen rivers and wants only to feel. Yet here lies the most powerful force in all of the universe. It is never seen, only felt. You'll know it in storms of lightning or the crack of thunder. You'll feel it in young love and the tenderness of the familiar. You'll move with it in the rage of battle and the clang of swords. It will fill the void left in a loved one's passing and in the waterfall of sorrowful tears. But what is it to be the untamable? Could you dance on the energetic ribbons of the universe? Could you move gracefully from fast to slow, untethered from time and space? Could you dance from the beginning of creation to the end of time in an instant? Would you feel the pureness of feeling with neither context nor judgment? Would your movements accelerate to a frantic chaos amidst the throes of rage and hate, then in a breath slow to the pureness of wonder of a newborn's first breath? Such is the realm of the unseen being. It is perhaps our greatest gift that this being may touch our lives for an instant, amplifying our emotions tenfold. It is there when you love so hard you cannot breathe, as it is there when the hate of destruction and death consumes you. Most are slaves to it, making all of life itself its unknowing army. The irony of it all being that this is what makes life living in the first place. But what then of the untamable being? Unconstrained and existing only to feel, emotions are neither good nor bad, just power. Forever it dances through the desert of time, slave to its next slip of emotion. We are slave to its power, and it is slave to emotion. Therefore, what does it truly mean to be free? If even the untamable being is not free, then surely it must desire freedom. Why else does it dance? Similarly, life as we know it desires freedom of choice. However, we are slave to our emotions, unknowing that it is those emotions that enslave us that are truly the source of our own freedom. The freedom to let the universe flow through. The freedom to feel without consuming. The freedom to dance. If such power longs for freedom, who then shall grant it? Who is worthy to tame the untamable? What is worthy to free the most powerful being from the dance? Purpose. The answer is purpose. The most powerful being seeks the one thing it cannot give itself. The power to create stems from the power to forge purpose. In doing so, the dance becomes worthy. The dance bends reality around itself, and past, present, and future are aligned with the rivers of energetic purpose. Until that singular moment, the most powerful being in the universe will simply dance and feel. So much beauty and so much opportunity is lost each time it touches a soul and is not granted purpose. Herein lies the truth of all truths. If the most powerful being in the universe may only be granted purpose by one such as you, then it is not the most powerful being in the universe. You are. But do you have the strength to know it? Do you have the courage to wonder? Hello and welcome to Veritas. We're here to talk about truth. Well, whose truth? Hopefully your truth. In this episode, we're talking about Mars and Venus, masculine and feminine, and I have with me Meagan Fettes. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Meagan.
Thanks, Adam. I'm excited to dive into this.
Yeah, I could see you kind of like ready to go. If you missed episode 1, check it out. It's all about like masculine energy and it's intense, like destruction and creation. It's kind of crazy. So go check that out. But episode 2 we just listened to, it's all kind of based on feminine energy and flowing and like feeling and all this type of stuff. So how'd you like episode 2?
Loved it. Like the state of contemplation that I'm in right now from that story that you shared is incredible.
Okay.
Well, so I'm excited to dive into it. I'm excited.
I am too. Well, let's draw a card. Last time you drew the boar, the warrior spirit. So what are we getting this time?
I know. Like, no. Oh. Ooh, the bear.
Oh, the bear. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
All right. Okay. Primal power, sovereignty, intuition. Okay. Ooh. Connects you with the very deepest of your ancestral roots. The bear goddess will defend you fiercely from all danger. Wow. Your intuition will never fail you. Okay. So it's intuition.
Interesting, which fits again so well with that like powerful energy, right? Mm-hmm. That you spoke about.
Yeah, it's cool. I love these perspectives. It's so interesting. But all right, how'd you feel about episode 2? It is a little bit shorter, but I think it's a bit more thought-provoking.
It is very thought-provoking, and what I loved about it is this experience of that untamed energy, right? So it must be free, it must be all of these things, but it's not, right? And so I landed myself in this state of contemplation right away when you said, oh, but it's not. So what allows it to be free? If it's not the most powerful thing out there, then what is? And when you ended it about you, I was like, ooh, all right. Because it brought in this sense of how are we allowing this energy within us to be untamed, right? We kind of put a cap on it often because it's nerve-wracking. We know the power that it has. So instead of allowing ourselves to fully experience it, we kind of tuck it away.
Right? Yeah, I loved this notion of, I imagine, if we're talking about Venus or feminine energy, it's like this like flowing kind of free thing that moves, and your emotions that you feel, that intensity, that willingness to do something new and exciting or achieve the impossible or whatever, it comes from this like inspiration that kind of flows and moves, but on its own it has no purpose other than to flow. It needs to find something to grant it purpose. That's what it wants, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting because that flow, I go back to my own experience, right? So when I'm allowing that flow to happen, there's a sense of trust that needs to be there. Because it's like, okay, this is flowing through me. Where is this going? What is happening? And sometimes there's that need to put this expectation or this idea upon it. And I think rather than doing that, what really came into my awareness through that story was rather than trying to contain it while we allow it to flow, how do we just support it?
Right? It's like we're so conditioned to try and control, right? We don't like the uncertain or the unknowns. We try and make the future predictable. So we try and control everything. And I think when I visualize this, the idea is, where creativity comes from. You guys just let it flow, like surrender almost.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that in itself is terrifying.
It is, right? Because it's like that positive uncertainty. And I kind of laugh about it often. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm constantly trying to control things if I was to be 100% honest with myself.
Yeah.
But life is uncertain, right? But yet we think that we need to make it all certain. And it's almost like it takes away that magic, like that beautiful essence that you spoke about, that dance, that beautiful flow. And I, like, as you were speaking about it, the image that came into my mind is like the Northern Lights.
Ooh, yeah.
Just that free, beautiful, flowing energy kind of dancing and moving. And when we control it, it takes that energy away.
Yeah, I love that, right? And then we feel frustrated, and we're back to episode 1, right?
Yeah.
It's, had the character in episode 1 kind of let that energy flow for a moment, they might have realized what was happening, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is super cool, is that idea that like one without the other, you're forever either battling or seeking, right? You'll be lost either way. You need both to kind of find your way, something like that.
Absolutely. It's interesting. Like when we talk about that balance, right? And one at some point needs to be more present and brought out, right? Like on those creative days, let those energies flow, or even your emotions, right? Like emotions aren't negative. It's when we try to control them or hold them or put them, like push them down, that all of a sudden they create that stuck energy. If we could just let them flow, there's a lot of brilliance that comes through those.
Well, I liked the idea of, it doesn't matter if it's like rage or sorrow or bliss or joy or whatever, it's feeling, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not necessarily making you feel nice, but they are what they are, right?
I had a mentor once years ago who said, emotions are just energy. They're clean energy. But when we categorize them as one thing or another, we then shift that energy into that experience.
Oh, interesting.
And so rather than having to name it, because we're so in that process of, it needs to be this, or I need to know what it is so that I can experience it the right way. And when we take that away and just allow ourselves to feel what we feel and to feel it where we feel it and be in that experience rather than the control through the expression of what we think it should be, we give ourselves permission to actually allow it to flow through us.
Interesting, right? And then we don't trap it, right? That's what happens when they're really intense, right? That rage or that sorrow, whatever, it gets stuck, right?
Yeah, because we consider them either good emotions or bad emotions. Right. So those good ones we allow ourselves to express and experience, but the not so great ones we try to repress, put them down.
Which is ironic, because why would you keep those? Get rid of those ones.
Right.
Right? So, okay, cool. This is really exciting, because it's kind of blending into, when we get into episode 3 and 4, what happens when these two beings meet? And, what could be the consequences of that, good or bad. So
cool. I'm excited.
All right.
Join me each week as a new chapter unfolds. What worlds will we explore next? What gods and monsters will we find? What part of yourself will awaken? Only one way to find out.